Dover Motor Speedway, May 15, 2026. Kyle Busch had just claimed his 69th Truck Series victory, extending a record nobody will likely ever touch. Fox Sports reporter Amanda Busick asked him a question that seemed simple at the time: why do these wins never get old? Busch smiled and answered, "You take whatever you can get, man. You never know when the last one is going to be. So cherish them all, trust me." 6 days later, those words became a haunting epitaph. Kyle Busch was gone at 41 years old, and NASCAR would never be the same. Thursday morning, May 21, 2026. Social media lit up when Kyle Busch's official account posted a statement that immediately sent shockwaves through the racing community. Kyle has experienced a severe illness resulting in hospitalization. He is currently undergoing treatment and will not compete in any of his scheduled activities this weekend at Charlotte Motor Speedway. The word severe wasn't used casually. This wasn't a minor injury or a precautionary absence. Families don't release public statements with that kind of language unless something is genuinely critical. Within hours, Richard Childress Racing announced that Austin Hill would replace Busch in the number 8 Chevrolet for the Coca-Cola 600, NASCAR's longest and most prestigious race of the season. Then, later that same Thursday, the unthinkable happened. The Busch family, Richard Childress Racing, and NASCAR issued a joint statement confirming what nobody wanted to believe: Kyle Busch had died. On behalf of the Busch family, everyone at Richard Childress Racing and all of NASCAR, we are devastated to announce the sudden and tragic passing of Kyle Busch. No cause of death. No extended explanation. Just shock, grief, and a sport left reeling. Looking back now, the 2026 season reads like a countdown nobody recognized in real time. Before the season even started, Busch suffered a serious leg injury in a bizarre household accident. He was standing on a stool fixing a smoke detector when it collapsed beneath him. He looked down and saw blood pouring from his leg. His wife, Samantha, rushed him to the hospital in the middle of the night, his leg propped on the dashboard wrapped in towels. He received 24 stitches and spent over 3 hours in emergency treatment. Most drivers would have sat out Daytona. Kyle Busch raced. Then came Watkins Glen on May 11, 2026. During the grueling road course race, Busch radioed his team with 38 laps remaining and calmly requested medical attention. "I'm going to need a shot when this is over," he told his crew, asking specifically for Dr. William Heil to meet him at his team bus after the race. He'd been battling a sinus cold all week, worsened by the extreme G-forces and elevation changes of the New York track. Despite feeling terrible, he ground out an 8th-place finish, his best result of the entire 2026 season. At the time, it seemed like just another example of Busch's legendary toughness. Now, it feels like something much darker. Then came Dover. His final win. His final words in victory lane. 6 days later, he was hospitalized. Hours after that, he was gone. 3 separate medical incidents in one season. A leg injury before Daytona. A medical crisis at Watkins Glen. And finally, a severe illness that took his life in a matter of hours. To understand what NASCAR lost, you have to understand what Kyle Busch accomplished. 234 combined wins across NASCAR's 3 national series. That's not just a record, it's a benchmark that may never be touched. He had 63 Cup Series victories, ranking 9th all-time. 102 wins in the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series. A record. 69 Truck Series wins, also a record. He won at least one Cup race in 19 consecutive seasons from 2005 through 2023. 2 Cup Series championships in 2015 and 2019. Kevin Harvick, the next closest active driver in combined wins, finished his career with 121. That's 113 wins behind Busch. Richard Petty, the king himself, had 200 combined wins. Busch beat him by 34. These aren't just statistics. They're proof of a generational talent. A driver who dominated across every level of competition in a way the sport had never seen. Kyle Busch wasn't always beloved. In fact, for much of his career, he was one of the most polarizing figures in motorsports. He arrived in the Cup Series in 2005 as a cocky 19-year-old with a famous last name and a chip on his shoulder. His older brother Kurt had warned everyone, "If you think I'm good, wait until you see my brother." Kyle lived up to the hype and then some. But his aggressive driving style, his on-track feuds, and his brash personality made him a lightning rod for controversy. Fans booed him relentlessly. And Kyle? He loved it. After wins, he'd climb out of his car and take a slow, theatrical bow to the crowd, feeding off their hatred like fuel. But over time, something changed. Becoming a father in 2015 softened him. His son Brexton, born the same year Kyle broke both legs in a horrific Daytona crash, gave him a new perspective. That 2015 season became the defining chapter of his career. Doctors said he'd be out 6 months. He returned in 3. He won his 5th race back, then won the championship in one of the most miraculous comebacks in NASCAR history. By the end of his career, the boos had turned to cheers. The villain had become a respected veteran. Rowdy Nation was born. When news of Busch's death broke, the tributes poured in from every corner of motorsports. Brad Keselowski, absolute shock. Very hard to process. Denny Hamlin, his former teammate and recent rival, absolutely cannot comprehend this news. We just need to think of his family during this time. We love you, KB. Ricky Stenhouse Jr., there aren't really words for today. Anyone who's lined up next to him knows exactly what made him special. He gave you everything he had, every single lap. Rest easy, Rowdy. The sport won't be the same without you. Dale Earnhardt Jr. revealed something deeply personal. Kyle and I had a really challenging existence for many years. But we luckily took the time to figure out our differences, and that was something he instigated. We had been planning to run a late model together at Wilkesboro this summer. A meeting to fit his seat was scheduled for the Thursday after he died. William Byron, who credited Busch with shaping his career, Kyle was the best mentor you could ever have. He was incredibly unselfish, cared about his people and his family deeply. Joe Gibbs Racing, where Busch spent the greatest years of his career. Kyle was a fierce competitor, an incredible teammate, and far more importantly, a devoted husband, father, and son. Even Formula One and the Indianapolis Motor Speedway extended condolences, recognizing Busch as one of the greats. Kyle Busch is survived by his wife Samantha, his 11-year-old son Brexton, and his 4-year-old daughter Lennox. Samantha had been his constant. She was there through the 2015 leg injuries. She drove him to the hospital before the 2026 season started. She stood by him through every controversy and celebrated every victory. Brexton, who turned 11 just days before his father's death, grew up in the garage. Kyle often spoke about how becoming a father changed him, how it gave him something bigger than wins and trophies. Lennox, just 4 years old, will grow up knowing her father only through stories and videos. Kyle's brother Kurt, a NASCAR Hall of Famer himself, had once predicted greatness for his younger sibling. He was right. But nobody imagined it would end this way. NASCAR confirmed that the Coca-Cola 600 would proceed as scheduled. Austin Hill drove the number 8 Chevrolet in Busch's place. The sport continued because that's what Kyle Busch would have wanted. But make no mistake, NASCAR lost a giant. A driver who redefined what winning meant. A champion who came back from broken legs to claim a title. A competitor who turned an entire generation of fans who booed him into people who loved him. His final words in victory lane will echo forever. You never know when the last one is going to be. So cherish them all, trust me. Rowdy Nation didn't just lose a driver. They lost a legend. If you're a NASCAR fan, take a moment today to remember what Kyle Busch gave this sport. Drop a comment sharing your favorite Kyle Busch memory. And if this video helped you process this loss, hit that like button and subscribe so we can keep honoring the legends of this sport together. Rest in peace, Rowdy. We'll never forget you.